Hello students, today we will see the next concept is needs or importance of SRS. There are three major parties included in interested in these systems like client, user and developer. Somehow the requirements for the systems that will satisfy the needs of clients and the concern users have to communicate to the developer. Some having needs like first is an SRS provides a reference for validations of the final product. Then second need is a high quality SRS is a prerequisite to high quality software. Then third is another important purpose of developing an SRS is helping the client understand their own needs or requirements. Then fourth is an SRS is important because it establishes the basis for agreement between the client and supplier on what the software product will do. Then fifth is SRS enable to provide feedback which ensure to the users and that organization understand the issues or problems to be solved. And last is SRS uses validation strategy applied to the requirements to acknowledgement that requires are stated properly. These are the importance of SRS. Then next is characteristics of SRS. The software requirement specification should be accurate, complete, efficient and high quality so that it does not affect the entire project plan, and SRS is said to be of high quality when the developers and users easily understand the prepared documents. That means SRS first characteristics is correct. SRS is correct when all the user requirements are stated in the requirements documents. The stated requirements should be according to the desired system. This implies each requirement is examined to ensure that every SRS representations and user requirements are same, and note that there is no specified tools or procedure to assure the correctness of the SRS, and the correctness ensure that all the specified requirements are performed correctly. Then second is unambiguous. SRS is unambiguous when every stated requirements has only one interpretation, and this implies each requirement is uniquely interpreted. In a case there is a term used when multiple meanings, and requirement document should specify meaning in the SRS so that it is clear and easy to understand. Then third is complete. SRS is complete when the requirements clearly define what the software is required to do, and this includes all the requirements related to like performance, designing and its functionality. Then fourth is rank for importance like or stability. All requirements are not equally important, and hence each requirement is identified to make a difference among other requirements. For this it is essential to clearly identify each requirements, and stability implies the probability of changes in the requirement in futures. Then fifth is modifiable. The requirements of the users can change, and hence requirements document should be created in such a manner that those changes can be modified easily and consistently, maintaining the structures and style of SRS. Then sixth is traceable. SRS is traceable when the source of each requirement is clear and facilitates the reference of each requirement in future. For this, forward tracing and backward tracing are used. Forward tracing is implies that each requirement should be traceable to design and code elements, and backward tracing implies defining each requirement explicitly, referencing its sources. Then variable. SRS is variable when the specified requirements can be verified with a cost effective process to check whether the final software meet those requirements, and the requirements are verified with the help of some reviews. And note that unambiguity is essential for verifiability. And the last one is consistency. The SRS is consistent when the subset of individual requirements defined do not conflict with each others. For example, there can be a case different requirements can use different terms to refer to the same objects, and there can be logical or temporal conflicts between specified requirements and some requirements whose logical or temporary characteristics are not satisfied. These are the characteristics of SRS. Then SRS format. SRS is the standard statement of what the system's developer should implement, and SRS includes the user's requirement for a system and detailed specifications of the system requirement. SRS is the final work product produced by the requirements engineer, and it serves as the foundation of subsequent software engineering some activities. And SRS describe the functions and performance requirement of the software, and it also lists the constraint that will affect its development. Shows this figure. This is the SRS document given, and the requirement of software may be described against the some each heading and subheading of the this template. And SRS is a formal document. It uses some natural language, graphical representation, mathematical models, uses some scenario, prototyping models, and any other the combinations of some to describe the software to be developed. And there are some standard template for presenting requirement specification is a consistent and more understandable manner. Here, this is the SRS document should be well structured, and well structured documents it is easy to understand and modify. Then first section, first and second, that means product overview and summary, then development and operating and maintaining the environment. Section first and second of the SRS document present and overview. See this figure, section first and section second of the product features and summarize the processing environment for development, operations and maintenance of the software product. Then section number 3 of the SRS document specifies the externally observable characteristics of the software product, and it includes users display and report format, and the summary of user commands and reports, report options, some data flow diagrams and data dictionary. Then section for functional requirement of the SRS document specifies the functional requirement for the software product, and typically functional requirements are expressed in the relational and state oriented notations that specify the relationship among some input, action and output, etc. Then section 5 performance requirements. SRS specifies the performance characteristics like response time for various activities, processing time for various processes, throughput, primary and secondary memory constraint, requires some telecommunication bandwidth, and unusual reliability requirements, etc. Then section 6 section 6 of the SRS document specifies the exception handling, including the actions to be taken and messages to be displayed in the response to undesirable situations or event or errors. And the various category of possible exception include some temporary and permanent resources failure or incorrect, inconsistent or out of bound input data, violations of capacity limits and violation of restrictions and operation, etc. Then section 7 of the SRS document specifies the early subset and implementations priorities for the system under development, and it is important to specify implementations priority for various system capability. Then section number 8 of the SRS document specifies foreseeability, modifications and enhancement that may be incorporated into the product following initial product releases. Then section 9 of the SRS document specifies the software product acceptance criteria, and acceptance criteria specifies some functional and performance test that must be performed and the standard to be applied to the source code like internal documentations and external documentations. For example, designing some specification, testing plan, user manual, the principles of operations and installation and maintenance of the procedure and so on. Then section 10 implies the specific design hints and guidelines. The how to product implementations is the topic of software design and should be deferred to the designing phase of the product. And section 11 of the SRS document specifies product requirement to the source of information which is used in deriving the requirements. And last sections number 12, grocery of terms, that means the document specify definitions terms that means unfamiliar to the customer and product developers, so it can properly defines and proper care of the taken to define the standard terms that are used in non-standard ways. These are the structures of SRS format. Then advantages of SRS. Software SRS establishes the basis for agreement between client and the supplier on what software product will do. Then second advantages is SRS provides a reference for validations of final product. And the third is high quality SRS is prerequisite to high quality software. And last is high quality SRS reduces development cost. Then one of the case study shows the basic SRS outline might look like. So this is the example of adoption and extensions of IEEE standards 830 1998. Then here introduction part, it contains purpose, documentations, conventions, intended audience, additional informations, contact information and references. Then second is overall description. It contains some product perspective, product functions, user classes and characteristics. Then operation environment, user environment, like some designing and implementation constraints, assumption and dependencies. Then third is external interface requirements. It contains user interfaces, hardware interfaces, software interfaces and communications between protocols and interfaces. Then fourth is system features. System features A and system features B. A contains description, priorities, action, result, functional requirement. Then fifth is other non-functional requirements like performance requirement, safety, security, software quality attributes, project documentation, user documentation. And last one is some other requirements like adding appendix A, that means terminology, some glossary, definition list, etc. And we will add the extra appendix B to be determined. These are the simple basic outline for SRS. Then next topic, next lectures we will see the developing use cases.